Hey, what's up guys? I want to talk for a minute about lighting. Lighting is a very important element to great cinematography. It can either make or break your image. So I want to share with you some of my tips and tricks on how to best utilize lighting. Over my years of working with Dev and Supertramp, most of our shoots were done using 100% natural light. So I've naturally fell in love with and prefer using only natural light when I can. But you need to know how to use natural light correctly. So let's talk about some of the things to be aware of. There are 3 factors that influence natural lighting. Number 1 is time of day, 2 is camera direction, and number 3 is weather. So first, let's take a look at different times of day to shoot and the effects they have on your image. The first we'll look at is midday. Midday lighting is when the sun is high in the sky, causing direct downward sunlight. This results in the highest contrast and least saturated lighting of any other time of day, and is typically the least desirable time to shoot. I personally try to avoid shooting at midday where possible, but when forced to shoot during this time, I like to compensate for the desaturated colors I get by putting on a polarizer, which enhances the blues in my sky and reduces sunlight reflection and brings out more colors in my surroundings. However, in an ideal shoot, I try and shoot as much as I can during golden hour. Golden hour is the first hour of light during sunrise and the last hour of light during sunset. This is my favorite time to shoot because the direction of sunlight is very soft and forgiving as compared to midday, and the warm natural tones will make your scene glow. And because this lighting is so much more appealing, I'll often plan, prepare, and rehearse scenes during less desirable lighting hours, and then work non-stop during golden hour to fit as much of my shooting as I can into that 1 hour. An example of this was when I shot a music video for Foreign Figures on the Salt Flats. We arrived at around 4 p.m., spent 4 hours setting up and rehearsing, and then shot for an hour straight to fit the whole music video into that 1 hour of golden light. We also did a few shots after the sun had gone down, and this time frame is called twilight. Twilight, also known as dawn and dusk, is the half hour before the sun has risen and the half hour after it has gone down. I like using twilight lighting for silhouettes as it allows you to see the beautiful colors in the sky while blackening out your subject. I recently discovered a photographer on Instagram who seems to only shoot during twilight, and it opened up my eyes to the amazing colors and lighting that can be achieved and inspired me to look for more opportunities to shoot during this time. Twilight is also a great time to shoot real estate because it will make all the house lights visible while still providing enough ambient light to see things that aren't being directly lit by those lights. So plan your shoots out to make sure you're shooting during the best times of day to give yourself the best possible lighting. The second factor that influences your natural lighting is camera direction. Even if you shoot during golden hour, if you don't point the camera in the right direction, it can take your image from beautiful to unflattering. My favorite way to point the camera is towards the sun, causing my subject to be backlit. I love backlight for a few reasons. Number 1 is sun flares. I'll oftentimes purposely film in a way that has the sun coming in and out from behind my subject. I'm always looking for opportunities to include the sun in my shot. The second reason I like backlighting is that when working with people, you're protecting their face from taking in the harsh sunlight so that they don't have to squint, and creates nice even lighting on their face. Backlight is very popular when shooting portraits. And the last reason I like backlight is because it helps separate the subject from the background by creating a halo effect or glowing rim around them. When working with the human face, having sun behind your subject is almost always more flattering than having direct sunlight on them. Take a look at these 2 portraits taken in the same place but at different times of day, so that one was front lit and the other was backlit. The front lit subjects are having to squint their eyes from the harsh sunlight, and the angle of the sun is causing dark shadows on their faces and eyes. Compare that to the backlit subjects who have their eyes wide open and have even lighting throughout their whole face. Direct sunlight does have its advantages too though. I like using direct sunlight on my subject for wider establishing or landscape shots, as it gives the image higher contrast and higher saturation. And if you are forced to shoot people during harsh sunlight, then try adding a reflector. You can use a reflector to bounce the sunlight on the subject to help even out the lighting and make it less harsh. When shooting our Neverland film, we were forced to shoot with direct sunlight, so we used a reflector as a fill light to brighten up the shadows on the face and give a more even, flattering look. Another thing to consider when choosing your camera direction is to avoid split lighting. Avoid shooting in areas that will force you to overexpose for the dark shadows or underexpose for the bright highlights. When possible, compose your shots to be either all in shade or all in sun. An example of split lighting was a shoot I did in New Zealand of river rafting where the sun never fully hit the waterfall. So I was stuck with a shot that had part of my image overexposed. So we waited till till we had some cloud coverage, and reshot it, and it gave us a much more even, flattering look to the image. Waiting for that cloud made all the difference to avoid the ugly split lighting. Which brings me to our third factor that affects natural light, which is weather. When it comes to weather, preparation is key. Check the weather forecast in advance so you can know when your best windows of light will be. Check the sunrise and sunset times so you can optimize the light you have with golden hour and twilight. If you're working with actors, have your scenes rehearsed and ready to shoot so as not to waste your best lighting, as you may only have minutes to capture your scene. And sometimes, even when you've done everything to prepare yourself, weather patterns will change and you'll be stuck playing the waiting game for the right light. Here's an example of me playing the waiting game in Hawaii. This is what my shot looked like under cloud coverage, and this is what it looked like after waiting almost an hour till the sun popped out for only 10 minutes. But because I was ready for that 10 minutes of sunlight, I got the shots I needed, and it was well worth it. As you can see, the sun brought so much more life and color to my shot. Clouds aren't always a bad thing though. Shade and overcast are great for shooting people, as it offers an even lighting for your subject. My favorite time to shoot portraits is under cloud coverage. Clouds are also great for shooting time lapses, as they add more movement to your image and help bring it to life. Rain and snow are other examples of weather patterns that can put a damper on your shooting plans, but they can still be utilized to your advantage as they make for great slow motion shots. So whereas most people would put their cameras away and wait for the rain to clear up, I see it as an opportunity to capture some epic slow motion. So don't be turned off when weather patterns change. Figure out how to utilize them to your advantage. So there you have it. Keep in mind the time of day, camera direction, and weather patterns when working with natural lighting, and use different scenarios of light to achieve different desired looks for your film. If you guys have any further questions about using natural lighting, please let me know.